Alright, welcome back to lesson 5 of our tutorial series on how to create Pong in Unity. For this lesson we're going to be adding in some more game controls to help the flow of our game. So to get started, let's open up our game controller script once again in our coding environment. For this script we're going to add in the functionality for the ball to start moving when a player presses a key. And this will be done inside the update function where I have this segment of code here that I'm going to now uncomment. So inside your update function you want to add in an if statement where you're checking to see if the in-play variable is equal to false and the game over variable is also equal to false. Then if both of these conditions are true, we want to have another if statement checking for the player's input. So I have if input.getKeyDown, and then we're looking for the key code .space. So when the player presses the space bar, this if statement will be true. Then inside this if statement, all we have to do is set the in-play variable equal to true. The next part of code that I've added to the update function is for returning to the main menu when the player presses the escape key. So I have an if statement checking for input.getKeyDown. We then are passing in keycode.escape. Inside this if statement, we're calling sceneManager.loadScene and we're passing in 0. This will load us into the main menu once we set up our scenes in the build order of our project. Now there's one more thing that we need to add to this script, and that is this public function down at the bottom. This is a public void function called main menu, and inside this function we're just calling the sceneManager.loadScene function, and we're passing in a 0. This public function will be paired to the button on our game over panel, and will load the players back to the main menu once the game is over. So once you have this code added in, we can then save this script and go over to our ball controller script. Inside this script, there's just one if statement that we need to add into our update function. So I'm going to uncomment it. Now this if statement goes around everything that we already have inside our update function. And this if statement just checks to see if the in-play variable is equal to true. And so I have if gameController.instance.inPlay is equal to true, then we do everything else that we already had. Once you have this, we can then save our scripts and go back to Unity. Inside Unity, the only thing that you need to do is apply the main menu function to the button of your game over panel. So here I have the on click of our button component, and you'll need to drag in the game controller object to this field, and then use the drop down menu to select game controller and then main menu. Now there's one more thing that we need to do before we test our project, and that is we need to set up the build order. So we're going to go up to File, Build Settings, and you're going to want to make sure that you add your game scene to the Scenes in Build list. You can do that by either dragging the scene into this field or clicking this Add Open Scenes button. Once you have that, we can now test our project, and you'll notice that the ball does not start moving on its own. Instead, I now have to press the space bar. And when one of the players wins, the game over panel appears, and then when we click the main menu button, it reloads our game scene. Now that's everything that we're going to cover in this lesson for how to create Pong in Unity.